x-axis here, which is -7. Here, which is -5. Here is -1. Here is 3. Here is 5. So those are where it crosses the x-intercepts, and we list them out. It only crosses the y-axis or creates a y-intercept once at that value, which is 3. So again, just every person got this one right, and I think just about every person, except maybe one or two who might have forgotten one of these, got letter D right. The problems occurred in B, C, and E. And I don't think it was as much misunderstanding as much as it was how do you express the answer in the format that they want it to be in. Look, first off, we mentioned this before a test or two ago. We never include maximums and minimums at the beginning and end points of the graph. So forget those, we don't include them. Every place that there's a relative maximum means every place that I get to a height, that's a max. So here's one right here. What is that height? That height is 2. Don't write the coordinate. Just write what the maximum height is. It's 2. Now this is also a maximum height. What is this maximum height? 4. So the relative maximum heights are 2 and 4. What are the relative minimum heights? -4 and what? -1. So I list the relative maxes are 2 and 4. The relative minimums are -4 and -1. Now, the x values that pair up with those are, in the case that we're looking at a height of 2, it's -6. When I'm dealing with -4, it's at -3 for x. When I'm dealing with a height of 4, it's at 1 for x. And when I'm dealing with a minimum of -1, relative minimum, I am at where x is equal to 4. So I listed the x values that went with the relative maximums and the relative minimums. Okay? If you wanted to break these apart and put the 2 with relative max that pair up with max and the 2 with min that pair up with min, you could do that. But what I really want you to focus on here is that the relative maximum values are just the outputs. It's just the height. The relative minimums are just the height. Maximums and minimums are not put down as turning points or as coordinates. They're put down as what the output value is at that point. Yes?
So you just took like the right before the point that's the maximum. That's how you found the relative maximum.
Every time I see a top height that turns down, that is a relative maximum. And I just looked over at the y-axis and said, hey, how high is this guy? This guy's 4. How high is this guy? This guy's 2.
Wouldn't that be the actual maximum?
Well, relative includes all of them. Then the very next question gets to absolute maximums and minimums. And for that one, you're only looking for the single highest point and the single lowest point. So this is a very important point. Relative maximums and minimums include every maximum and minimum on the graph. Absolute maximums and minimums are only the single highest and the single lowest. So in this case, the absolute max is 4. The absolute minimum is -4. And the corresponding x values, the x max occurs, or the max occurs when x is 1, and the minimum occurs when x is -3. Yes?
I always thought that like absolute like meant like positive.
No, that's called absolute value.
Oh, okay.
If I said absolute value, that would mean positive. That's a very good question. All right? So do you see how we want to express this answer? The difference between relative and absolute maximums and minimums? And the maximum itself, the minimum itself is the output value. It's not the whole coordinate. And now we get into where is it increasing. And this is my answer key. I just wrote look because I have to look at your answer and see if it's increasing over that interval. Look, it's increasing from here to here. Increasing means going up. So I could go where x goes from -8, because over intervals we're always talking about input values. When x goes from -8 to -6. But if you wrote -7 to -6, you're right also. If you wrote -8 to -7, if you wrote -7.9 to -6.1, you're also right. So I have to look at your answer and see if it works. The one thing I want to emphasize to you guys, you could have a bracket, you could have a parenthesis, you could have both parentheses. This is not a coordinate now. This is the interval notation where if it's a bracket, it means it's allowed to equal it. If it's in parentheses, it's not allowed to. Or you could have different areas of the graph, from -8 to -6. You could go from -3 up to 1, etc. But I want to emphasize this. In my opinion, the graph is not actually increasing where x is -6. It's turning. But I asked the head of the math department, what does the regents accept? And they accept either a bracket or a parenthesis. So whichever one you put, you will get credit for. Yes?
So, but I don't understand how you know when to use either one.
In my opinion, at this very itty bitty teeny weeny top point there, it is not increasing, it is not decreasing, it is stuck. So in my opinion, the only correct notation should be the parenthesis, because at that x value, it is not going up and is not going down. However, the Regents has been really, really nice. And what they said is, on the Regents exam, if you put the bracket, they're going to give you credit. And if you put the parenthesis, you're going to get credit. So either way, you're going to get credit.
But what coordinate do you put down?
I don't put a coordinate, I put an x value.
Oh, you only put the x value?
Yes, that's why I put -8, -6. So where the x's go from -8 all the way over to -6, for that entire interval, the graph is increasing. And then where is it decreasing from -6 all the way down to -3? Then it increases again from -3 up to 1. Then it decreases again from 1 down to 4. And it increases again from 4 up to 8. Now you could choose any of those intervals or any of the parts of those intervals. And you can use either parenthesis or brackets, or you could do the left bound less than or equal to x less than or equal to, and the right bound. You can do any of those notations. They're all acceptable. Okay? All right. So that's the answers to our quiz, and just make sure you review it tonight. You shouldn't have a problem tomorrow. Conceptually, you understand a max, you understand a min, you understand the increase, you understand decrease. It's how you're expressing your answer that you need to get better at. Okay? All right. So now, last night's homework, there are 2 questions I want to look at. So let's get that out. And I'd like to look at the last question first. Okay, ladies? Yes? Go ahead. Okay, so as we look at this last question, here's the original system, and I realize that I have to pair up either of the variables. In this case, I think it's easiest to pair up the y's. So I distribute to 3, and I get 6x plus 3y is 18. And now I have them lined up, so I do the elimination technique. If I add them up, I get 7x equals 7, so x is 1. I go back, I plug in the 1, and I get y is 4. Okay? Now, a very good thing about the fact that I make up questions is that I can be very thorough, and I am not limited by the questions that I have as resources. The bad thing about it is I do all these questions in my head, and sometimes I screw up. So, God bless. Let's look at the previous question. It's the same kind of thing where you're going to want to use elimination. And in this case, I paired up my b's. I saw 5 and 3 and said, hey, wait, I can make 15 there. If you're stuck on getting common denominators, you could always say, look, if I multiply the top one by the bottom one, and the top one by the bottom one, and the bottom one by the top one, meaning multiply the b's by 5 to get 15, and then the top by 3 here, -3 more specifically to get opposite signs, you get -15. The problem is it worked out to an ugly answer, -63 over 19, but you would keep going just like you did in the previous question. Substitute the -63 over 19 in for A. Just do the math. You have a calculator. It can work itself out, and so on and so forth. Okay? Any questions? All right. Now let's go to this particular question, which I can't even read. All right, so. Marty sells tacos and burritos from a food truck at a farmer's market. She sells burritos for $3.50 each, tacos for $2 each. She has to earn at least $1,200. All right, so. Tacos and burritos. Two things I will not eat. Actually, I'll eat homemade tacos. I just won't eat school tacos.
I'll bring you some in.
Yeah, homemade is delicious.
Right.
But school, forget it. That's government grade beef. I'm not eating that.
No school food.
I will not go to Taco Bell.
I went to Taco Bell.
I get
One
worried, you know,
food
usually,
at school that's good
first
except
of all,
French fries.
99% of the time, I will not go to a fast food place to eat. And if I do, the last thing I wanna do is have to go to the bathroom while I'm driving, hence no Taco Bell. Now,
The burritos.
yeah, okay, now, 3 combinations of tacos and burritos that'll earn more than $120. Okay, so I could do 30 tacos and, 30 burritos and 10 tacos. I could do 100 burritos and 100 tacos.
Yeah.
Any combination that works out to more than it. You get the point on that, right? Okay, good. 3 that will earn exactly 120. Now, this is not so simple. I could do no burritos and 60 tacos. Everybody agree? Okay, I could do, what's 120 divided by 350? Does it work out exactly?
34.
Okay, I could do 34 burritos and no tacos. Or I could do,
Oh, wait, no.
20 tacos is 70.
119.
All right, well, you know what I mean, whatever it works out to on the division. And then I could do 20 burritos, that's $70, and 25 tacos, because that's 50, and that adds up to it. So any combination that adds up to 120 exactly. Yes?
I wanted to share one.
Oh, what was yours?
Okay, I don't know if it's right, but I did 16 tacos and 32 burritos.
No, it won't be right, because if you do 60 tacos, you're at $120. Oh, are you doing part A or B?
She said 16.
Oh, 16, oh, that might work. 16 tacos is $32, and how many burritos?
32.
32 is,
112.
yeah. So that's gonna be more than $120. Just take whatever number of burritos you think and multiply by 3.5, and then take the number of tacos and multiply by 2, and add them up, and you should get, what's that?
How many burritos did you have?
Too many.
16 and 32, was it?
It was too many, whatever it was.
Oh, I see what I did now.
All right, now, identify 3 combinations that will not earn 120. I mean, how easy is that? 0 and 0, 0, 1, 10, 1, 10, 10, etc. So there's many combinations that won't. Next, graph your answers to part A through C in the coordinate plane, and so on and so forth. So now we get to the heart of the problem. How much was it a burrito again?
350.
Okay, so I'm gonna let B be burrito. Ah! Oh, God, I hate when I do that. No, because now it disappears and I gotta go find it.
Monoroe.
Oh, hey,
Fiddlestick.
okay,
You found it.
yep.
We're gonna walk
All right, so I'm gonna let B be burrito, and I'm gonna let T be taco. This will be the T axis, this will be the B axis. Of course, you can let it be X and Y, that's fine. Now, how much is in a burrito again?
350.
350. So 3.5B plus what? 2T?
Yeah.
And I want greater than or equal to 120, is that what they want?
Yep.
Or do they want equals 120?
Uh,
Look at part D.
Well, for A,
It just says all of them.
more than.
Grab all your
It
answers.
says more than.
Yeah.
Okay, so that would be greater than or, does it say more than or equal to or more than?
Just great.
No, greater than.
Just greater than, okay, so that'd be 120. Now,
You know.
I'm gonna change this to B and T. I'm gonna do burritos and tacos this way, okay? Because it's a little bit easier. So minus 3.5B, minus 3.5B, and I get 2 tacos is greater than or equal, negative 3.5b plus 120. And now I'm going to divide by 2. And I get the tacos is greater than. Now look, on your calculator, do negative 3.5 divided by 2. God bless. Negative 3.5 divided by 2. And then do math, enter, enter. And I think you're going to get negative 7 over 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Negative 7 over 4b plus plus 60. So what I'm going to do, when I have to set up a scale here, I'm going to set the scale to go up by 4s. Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm going to make the scale to go up by, I got to do 7s. I hate doing this, but I got to do it. All right, so this would be 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42, and 21 will be 63. It just means I'm going to end up in the middle. So be it. Okay. All right. So the y-intercept is 60, which is about here. And then I'm going to go down 7 over 4. And down 7 means down 1 box, right? Down 7. And then each of these could still be, for the burritos, let's do the burritos as each box equals 4, okay? So just set it up, 4, 8, 12, 24, 36, okay? So again, I'm getting a little creative with the scale so I can fix it, but I'm doing the scale in such a way that it's gonna make the slope easy, watch. Down 1, over 1, down 1, over 1, down 1, over 1. Do you see what I've done with the scale there?
Yep.
By making the scale match 7 over 4. Now, this is going to be a broken line, and we have a context here. Can I go past either axis? Why can I not go past either axis? Everybody?
You can't have a negative.
Can't get negative tacos. Can't get negative burritos. Though I wish they would do that at lunch sometimes. Okay. There's my graph, and then it wanted a combination that's more. Since I wanted more, I could pick any combination that's shaded above. So for instance, I could pick 36 tacos and 63 burritos, and that would be more. It would be a lot more, but it would be more. Okay? Questions? All right. Now let's go to the next one. Is this an elimination one, or is this a substitution one? How do you know it's substitution? Everybody.
Every Y.
They're not lining up, right? Okay.
I don't know why I just said
So,
that.
2x. Come on. I hit that. 2x minus 3 times 3x plus 1 equals negative 17. All I did was say that the y and the 3x plus 1 are the same thing, Carissa, so I substituted in. Now, distribute. 2x minus 9x minus 3 is negative 17. That gives me negative 7x, getting those together. Minus 3 is negative 17. Add 3, add 3. Negative 7x is negative 14. Dividing by negative 7, x is 2. Since x is 2, y has got to be 3 times 2 plus 1. Y is 7. So x is 2, y is 7. Bottom one, very straightforward. Top one, contextualize, put it in a situation, real life problem. Any questions? Okay, we got another day or two of this, another day of this, and then we got a group quiz on Friday. Yep.